Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Global Heart Healing Conversations. I'm so happy to have you join us, and I am delighted to introduce you to my dear friend, Magdalena Hodur. And Magdalena, would you just tell people a little bit about you?
Hello, so glad to be here. Well, I'm a life traveler, a life lover, enjoying life, always becoming present in the moment. That I think what mostly defines me. I've did a lot of things, let's say, in this physical realm that actually had led me to discover who I truly am, right? But let's say those physical things in the physical realm more were more uh, like a way, like a path to really discover who I truly am. And well, I think there is no more important to say. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So, then along that line, my first question is, would you please tell us a little bit more about your healing journey and what first led you to the path of joining healing as a way of life?
Well, let's have like a really glimpse at my story with little bites. Well, I was born in Poland in Catholic religion. Mm, I remember it only as a small child. I remember, the religion being very entangled with the culture, with the way of being, and I remember as a child that I had a few difficulties, to deal with religion, and I kind of saw it like normal among a lot of people, and I just thought it was fine. Later on, I we emigrated with my parents and my sister to Spain when I was about 11, 12, and with a lot of changes in my life because of the culture changing and everything. At the age of 16, I began to read psychology. And, psychology is really taught in a very scientific way. And I remember that somehow I got to a point reflecting about, things I believed as a child to kind of associate them with religion, that the things, a lot of like undesirable feelings I had were related actually to things that were imposed, culturally to me. And I associated it directly to God and to belief in religion. So I kind of really wanted to separate myself a lot from any kind of belief, and really was into psychology and being atheist for a long, long, long time. Till I figured out, that there were things that, and no matter how I was going deep and deep into psychology, later on into coaching, that there was some gap, that psychology was never filling. And I was like, why is this not working? Why is this not working? Even though I've discovered so much and I practice it all on myself. And so I didn't pray at that time because I didn't believe in anything, but I had always like a strong conviction, I would say, that I want to discover the truth of who I am. And I believe it was a kind of prayer, even though I didn't know that then. And and I had this conviction, and somehow it guided me. And the first step was in 2017, during the summer when I was ending my master's. and I had the whole summer, I had to write my master's final work. And but I wanted to go away. I was doing it in Madrid, in Spain, and was really like, I have to go somewhere. And I went into Opera platform, and somehow I aligned with a Buddhist family. And then it's where all began, actually, because I became to live with them to see how they live, and I was really impacted by the peace they felt every day, how they behaved between each other. I even met the community. Those were the first times I really started meditating, because before I was doing, let's say, clinic relaxations, but they were lacking something. And those were like first times I felt like, wow, something, a connection to spirituality. And it was wonderful. And then because of them, and thanks to them, I started to open myself again to this, to spirituality. And at the end of 2018, I discovered the courses in Mindvalley. I started to do some things. And then, in 2020, 2021, we met. The community was so big. We discovered a lot, I discovered a lot of paths with spirituality through Mindvalley. And then, but still, there was, like something missing, I felt. And I remember one day praying and at the beach in Gijón, in Asturias, in Spain. I went into a wild beach. I felt very lost, and I said, like, I at this point, I don't know who is listening to me, but please, I need an answer. I really want to live where I can feel good with what I work in and the people that I'm surrounded by. And about 2 weeks later, I got a friend that I was really connected with instantly by some things we shared at that time, and she invited me to Marbella, to the south of Spain, which was completely in the opposite direction of where I was living. But I felt an intuition. Don't even look at the map. I just booked the tickets, and I literally didn't even. Only knew it was in Andalusia, in the south of Spain. And I went, and it was because there I was supposed to meet two things. First thing was Kabbalah. Kabbalah is the mystic belief of Judaism, that really talks in a really philosophical way of, the sense of God is spirituality. And actually, at first, it triggered me so much because it had the word God, and I was like, I was really triggered by it to hear it in spirituality. But somehow the texts were so good, and they made so much sense to me. They were so, let's say, cognitive and logical. And it started, I started to release that, let's say, that unease to God. And then I met the Bahá'í community, which was actually in Marbella, is one of the biggest Bahá'í communities in Spain, and that was not a coincidence that I ended up there. I become very active in the community. It is a religion, maybe not that known. It believes in all the prophets before, like Buddha, Mohammed, Zoroaster, Moises, like really a lot of them, and the ones that they really believe in, the Bab and Baha'u'llah. But the thing is that they do a lot of social work, and they have such a connection with the heart as well, that first I met so many people from this community, and they had so much openness to other beliefs. made a lot of meetings, a lot of social work, helping people, from day to day life. And it touched my heart so much, how devoted they were and how they loved God and how he really helped them, and I was amazed to see their example, and it really helped me, to reconnect with God.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, it was like the missing thing I had. And yeah, so after all that journey, I later on made a retreat in a Buddhist temple that it's not by coincidence also in the south of Spain, very near to where I was, and there meditating after really few years of not hearing anything of A Course in Miracles. During a very, very connected meditation, I heard, "Now is the time." And I was so impacted.
Nice.
And yeah, it was like little by little, somehow. One time I heard, this famous person wrote A Course in Miracles. Another time, this person and this. And I was like, okay. But after, so much time not hearing about it, and I felt it and I heard it so clear during this meditation. And it was like, oh wow, I feel this is really a sign. It came to me so clearly, and I always prayed, please give to me everything clear, especially when it's meant to be, to
Yeah.
discover who I truly am. So yeah, I would say that this is my path.
Nice, nice. Before we go on to the next question, I would like, if you didn't mind, um, I know you did a beautiful social work outreach when you were living in Marbella with and working with the Baha'i community. I wondered if you wanted to share just a little bit about that. It's quite magical, so I thought maybe people would love to hear about it.
Yeah, for sure. We mostly worked with children and teenagers, also groups of adults. But yeah, as I was back then an English teacher for children, they mostly saw me like, aligning with the kids. So I work with the kids and also with the teenagers. And their social work is mostly about emotional re-education of people, to whoever is interested. And it has such beautiful values. I met their books. They have like their own house, of editing in South America. It's very big. It's called Ruhi. And then there they have a lot of books that are really precious. I found really precious, especially the books for teenagers, which I found like the most neutral ones. But yeah, like anyway, all of them like show really beautiful values. And I remember the teenagers, especially, being so touched by it and aligning so much to it, like really finding a sense in life through service as well.
Nice.
You would be surprised like how turning our teenage energies put into service when they learn how much value it has for the heart. It's very beautiful. So yeah, I have a lot of to thank to Baha'i community.
So, do you want to mention just a little bit about the vision that they are able to see without they're blindfolded, right? And do some healing work, right?
You mean the Baha'i community?
Well, didn't you do that as an outreach program for the children? The
Ah, yeah. Yeah, well, that was something different actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called VEO system. And yeah, maybe because we've talked about it, and because some children in the Baha'i community also took this course. And they had wonderful effects. So So this is a method to open actually the third eye in children that, I believe it can be really done in different ways. But this is true that there has been a lot of energy put into this method, so it worked. And yeah, it's amazing how, there was like, let's say, they said the practitioners, a very positive side effect of this technique is that the children become to see with their eyes closed, with their physical eyes. But it was like, let's say, the less important thing. The most important one was that they suddenly, they maybe had some problems of understanding at school, some, intelligence, emotional problems, and they began to improve, opening the third eye. And yeah, it was amazing. I really liked that journey as well.
Yeah. I just
And
remember
yeah,
one of the times you were telling me that the children would have these blindfolds on, and then they would draw something that maybe represented something that they wanted to heal, and they would take that drawing home and put it on the refrigerator, and through that it actually became a conversation that helped the whole family to start healing. I remember you telling me that, and I thought it was so beautiful.
yeah, that's so, this method, I believe it's so precious because it involves the whole family. Because the child really to open the third eye, it involved everybody to work through it, because if there was any fear, it was going to block that opening. So the whole family, especially the parents, you had to work with them. So yeah, it was a wonderful way to see, yeah, how love can evolve, actually, when we have the right motivation and we have the right faith, especially the faith.
I just thought that was such a lovely thing. I thought you were, when you go volunteer and you were teaching that and working with the families. That's what I recall. It was something like a.
Yeah, we had a workshop with the kids during that course that I did, and it's true that I'm now nowadays practitioner. In fact, a funny thing, I'm registered in that page in Asturias, so people sometimes from Asturias they call me, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not physically there. Yeah, but,
One of the times that when we talked, we've stayed
yes,
in contact for many years, and
mm,
our
yeah,
our
it's
history has been really beautiful. Really, lots of healing
yeah,
happening around for both of us in just beautiful ways. So,
so
um,
true.
okay, so then we'll go on, and I just want to ask maybe what are some of the key practices or rituals that you feel like in your healing work, or either for yourself personally, or that have brought transformation um, to either you or a participant, something like that.
Oh, I would say that to meditate every day, even some minutes to align with your heart, with your mind. The mind is your friend, really, if you let it to be. And just letting yourself to have a peace moment every day, it can become so healing. If you're able to share it with others, don't worry, it doesn't matter if it's a person, if two people, three, it doesn't really matter. It's really what matters is that through that connection it even grows more. And through that idea, I remember we started a set of meditations, and now we do every day. It's for my timing, it's 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. And yes, like every time is different, every time, because it's like in an international page. Every time someone from a different part of the world, but maybe only one person, maybe two, maybe three, but it's like, it doesn't matter. It's like every time it's meant to be for both of us, and so healing.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, that's what I believe. Like every opportunity, we also have to, to acknowledge the beauty in our life, to feel grateful, to feel really, sometimes we maybe tend to focus on the negativity, or to victimize ourselves that they shouldn't have acted this way or this way, but just to feel grateful, acknowledge all these things this person may be coming through, and just feel grateful all that you have in life. I think that, wow, gratitude can be so healing when you embrace it.
Absolutely. I think gratitude, the energy of gratitude brings a shift no matter what you're going through. And if people could remember when they're in the depths of despair, for just
Mm,
a moment, even just to shift to gratitude, even to get themselves to a neutral space.
mm,
Yeah, gratitude. We all have things to be grateful for, always.
yes.
Just that our hearts are beating and our blood is pumping, and that we can talk to people, and then we have so much to. I love this space. That's what it was so important to me to bring this podcast. These conversations need to become much more normal, much more easy to have. Um, it's
Well,
available to everyone, and so having people hear that it can happen for anyone, that it can be safe for them. That's yeah, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing that. So, I wanted to ask you how you integrate different, maybe cultural or spiritual traditions into your current healing work.
wow. I would say, like all the different spiritual and religious paths I've been through, I think make much more sense because of the state of mind in which I was at that time. So it helped me to, to keep on my path. It's true that I kind of keep a little bit of their philosophy in nowadays. But yeah, it's like some of their parts that helped me then don't make any more sense now. So it really depends of each person. This is why I think, the most important thing is to align with certainty, to to have as a goal to discover who you truly are, and you will be led. Doesn't matter how, but yet to have clarity of not confusing the aim with the means. And yeah, because it's really discovering who we truly are, what can really makes us the happier. Maybe it can seem scary sometimes, depending what path we have been through or associated to, but it is truly the most beautiful thing we can do, is to discover who we truly are.
Absolutely. And for me, that also, as you progress in that, you find your soul purpose, and then life gets so simple, because then you just find more and more direction, because like you said, it will come. If you
Yeah,
seek, you will find it. It will lead you. You will be led.
yeah,
And it's so, and then it just gets to be fun, just fun.
yeah. Yeah,
So
I would say one good practice is to become simpler. We have made things so unnecessarily difficult. And it's part of the separation we have felt, from ourselves, from the union with others, but it's really much simpler than we think. If we just let ourselves to be simple and don't believe that it's bad or feeling guilty for it.
yes, and that's one of the things I think that is the biggest thing, is learn to trust yourself. go deep enough that you find truly who you are in your heart, through your connection with the universe, with God, with wherever it is. But trust you, because you're beautiful, and you'll find where you're supposed to be. You will find the right space and the right healing path for you. And then it just, like I said, it gets really fun.
Yeah,
And you
that's
get to meet beautiful people like I do every day. And it's just, it's so much fun. And we also certainly invite anyone and everyone listening to please check out Global Heart Healing. We have lots of events happening. And speaking of that, we actually have an upcoming group ongoing session that will be starting with Magdalena. So, can you give us a little bit of background maybe on that and how you came into that when on this path that you've been talking about?
yeah. So I have really beautiful connection with A Course in Miracles, and I'm so glad of how it emerged in my life, how it bloomed out of my journey. And people I've met, it happened the same way. And it's true that some people say, when you feel it's the right time, it's the right time, but don't rush it, because several things have to align. But yeah, it has happened in a beautiful way. Actually, when I did this volunteering in the Buddhist temple, at the same time I was Baha'i back then. Um, yeah, the Baha'i faith was totally fine with Buddha, with everything. Um, but yeah, it was quite interesting thing, because I was really in between faiths, still realizing what I liked, what I didn't about some, but always felt led led by whatever God told me. And yeah, it was during this volunteering it happened, and I remember, like, how do I start, and yes, so I began searching about book. I found also, like, in a form of audiobook. I began listening it during my working hours in the temple. And it was such a beautiful and peaceful space, even during working hours, because it was done in a really conscious way. That it really helped me, and I'm so glad that it happened there, because it was such a meditative space. Everything aligned, even the food we ate every day, all the times we meditated, that it happened there. It was meant for me to start there. And I'm very glad. I'm very glad. And from there on, it's also true that it triggered me sometime. After that, actually, I came to Poland to see my parents, and then I started a half year of service in Madrid, which was also with the Baha'i community. But then maybe I started to be more disconnected a little bit from the Baha'i faith. Still, I love the community and all that it gave to me, right? But yeah, I started to feel like, even with a feeling of fear, that I should leave the faith soon. And I was, wow. But I even entered it, like, it was very funny how I entered the faith. I was really like, God, if this is what you want, please don't make me say yes or no. If this is the best for me and the people that will learn from this experience, just make it happen. And it's funny that it happened that way. But anyway, it's another story, but it's crazy that, yeah, through this kind of crazy decisions that God made me do, it wasn't until time. with perspective, that I could see the sense in it. And yeah, in Madrid, I've been there half year, and then, I was becoming, stronger and stronger with the practice of the Course in Miracles. And yeah, I began to stop believing in some things I did at that time from the Bahá'í Faith. And yeah, there was that time I felt I should start telling somebody. So one by one, from friends nearby. And, it was really blessed moment, because it was a learning for me to let go, but at the same time to do it in a friendly way with the community. I believe they had maybe not so good experiences with people leaving, maybe in an abrupt way, from what I could sense. And it was done such a beautiful way, because we keep friends, every day. I ask them things. We know we love God. It doesn't matter, we do from a different place. But I believe it really had to happen that way. And yeah, after that, after reading the theory of A Course in Miracles, I remember I really feel like, I've read that there is teacher's manual, and I felt, wow, I really want to teach this. So I embraced in the practice of 1 year, to practice it every day, and then, to put it like, to combine it with the theory of being or a teacher of A Course in Miracles, and really accepting this path. And really, wow, what evolved from there it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. It had its challenges, but not because the truth of who we are is damaging, is what opposed to the truth of who we are, that has been so much time by our side, and that tries to protect us, that thinks that it's bad. But it's really, yeah, wow. I have no words for all that it's healing in my journey.
Yeah. Briefly, I would like for you just to mention that this is part of who you are. You certainly are a student, and you've studied many things. Do you want to just touch on that for a minute, and then we'll move into community and advice? We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I consider myself an eternal student, and the way that A Course in Miracles sees it, it's very aligned with the way I also, I taught a lot languages. And I also believe that it works this way, that, teaching is always, it always works by both sides. When you're a teacher, you're always learning. And yeah, to admit that, and when I read it in the Course in Miracles, I was really touched that it really believes it that way, and that you should respect it, and just accept, the students that come to you. And actually, I had few students to come to me, and still do during meditations. Anything is like people are drawn to you just by, any chance. I have to be there that day, and we had to meet. And yeah, it's incredible, and you both learn so much. And so I'm so glad about this journey, because yeah, I'm this eternal student, yeah, with everyone else, and so glad to share love through it.
That's beautiful. So then, along that line, you've really already been talking quite a bit about community, but I want you to maybe share what you believe the role that community plays in your healing, or the healing of anyone, the healing process.
Yeah, it is a big thing, because everyone is a part of us. either we like it or not. Everyone we encounter on the street, in our job, in the supermarket, wherever we are, everybody that we encounter, it's part of ourselves, even a tiny one. So we come back to unity through the recognition of our brother. And yeah, so it's so important because the way we chose this physical realm to be, it is through our brother that we come back to who we truly are. So these connections are so beautiful, so sacred, and they really help us emerge, grow, and fly, uh, and grow in who we truly are.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, what advice would you give someone who feels disconnected from their heart or from love in their life, or guidance?
Mm. I would say to start with a conviction that you want to feel good, you want to let go of the bad things, and most importantly, that you want to come back to who you truly are. You want to discover who you truly are. And it may seem like very blurry, maybe, but trust the path. It will lead you certainly, because we cannot walk the path of others. This is the thing. It has to be shown to us in the way we understand reality right now, in each step. So, yeah, I would say that just asking for it every day and having the conviction and the faith, it really comes to you, and it will.
Yes, it will. You're right. That's beautiful. And I love that you brought it right back. This entire conversation has been so lovely. And this last question you have absolutely answered, because the last question is, how has your own personal healing evolved over the years? And you've really shown us that through this entire conversation. So I think that leaves us a moment to just share that you are now going to be, through Global Heart Healing, bringing A Course in Miracles. I'm going to let you share the beautiful title that you came up with, and we'll also link all of the things. But if you want to tell people a little bit about when, where, how, that kind of thing, I'll let that be yours.
Yay! Thank you so much. So this is a space that Joy kindly asked me if I would like to share some knowledge, spiritual knowledge in the community. And yeah, instantly what I really felt, and it was like, almost the timing I finished like the 1 year practice. And I felt like, oh my God, this is so perfect. I think God put this in my way. And yeah, I felt it had to be A Course in Miracles. And so we are going to have uh, about 1 hour, maybe a little more sessions, once a month in English, once a month in Spanish as well. And so for English, it will be the first Thursday of the month. For Spanish, it will be the third Thursday of the month. And we're starting on May. And each session, we will, because the lessons are for the whole year. We won't do one day each time, but what I will do is to come up with like a accumulation of some of the days that are similar, because there are really like practice days that are similar, and relate them to some of the theoretical context from the textbook, which is like the theory part. that aligns with those practice days. And yeah, to give some everyday tips, to make it easier, because I know A Course in Miracles sometimes gets very philosophical and very complex, but yeah, we will try to make it kind of easier for everyday practice, to engage, how we can practice. We will have little meditations to integrate also the knowledge. And yeah, this is the first idea, but also we won't have expectations of how it will end up. We just believe that the universe, God will guide us on how to do it. So everyone here learns from each other.
Yeah, it'll be a beautiful space, I think, where you'll have conversations and growth and aha moments. And I have also done it, and I'm excited that you're bringing it. And do you want to tell them the title of our group?
Yes, yes. So the title is A Course in Miracles, Walking the Path Together, Walking the Path Towards the Light.
Yes, walking together towards the light. Isn't that
Yeah,
beautiful?
yeah.
So you will be hearing more about that. We'll send out invitations as well. And if you're watching this podcast, the link to join will also be there, as well as the link to join Magdalena's daily meditations if you're in her area. And if you're in that side of the world, that will be a beautiful space for you as well. And so I'm so honored, so thrilled for you to bring this to everyone and for people to get to know you better. And um, yeah, thank you for joining us. We've been together on many occasions over the years. Thank you for bringing this to our Global Heart Healing membership. And thank you so much for bringing your conversation to Global Heart Healing Conversations. It's truly sacred.
Thank you so much, my friend. I feel so much appreciation from you. You're also very important part of my healing, and I'm so glad about this and our friendship. I love you so much,
I love you
and
so
thank you so much.
much.
I'm really
We
glad I
love all of
hope
you
this
too.
helps.
Absolutely, it will help. It will help so many. And everyone is welcome. It doesn't matter where you are. If you've simply never heard of it, just come see what it's like. And if you've heard of it, come see what it's like. Thank you so much, Magdalena. I am so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you all. I love you.
Love you.